Hi guys, Rita Join here from Unbox Your Gift. In the past few weeks I've received quite a few questions and I thought rather than answer the question one-on-one, I'd share the whole question and the answer with you to see if it can resonate with you and hopefully give you some direction and some advice. And the question goes as this: how do I know if I'm in the right job? And that question presupposes that you're not. Something is not quite right. So there are two ways in which I can give you advice about this. First one is looking at your personality traits. Second is your values. Your personality traits is what defines you, what describes you. So you might be a person who is full of energy, an extrovert, loves being around people, and is quite creative. Now, if you get stuck into a role like accounting, where you're behind a desk punching numbers and just filling out paperwork, or into something like the public service, where you are constantly behind a desk and going through red tape motions, then those particular roles don't bring out the best of you in terms of who you are, your identity. So let me put it to you this way. In order for you to have alignment in the role that you're in, your personality needs to be reinforced. So the roles that you apply for, the jobs that you are in, has to bring out more of you. It's like when you're in a relationship. When you're in a relationship and the person is the right person for you, you become more as a person. You have more to offer. You know, you're not kind of dim, dark, and defocused, right? Same with a job. If the job doesn't reinforce your personality, then it's kind of restricting you. It's a suffocating kind of venture that you've just aligned yourself with. And that's when you become disgruntled, and I can't be bothered, and you're just going through the motions of going to work for a paycheck 5 days a week just to get it out of the way so you can live for the weekend. So the first thing to do is, does the role align with and reinforce who you are, your personality traits? The second thing is your values. Now the values are what's important to you. Now what's important to you is obviously different to what's important to someone else. But the values are, what do you consider to be important to live by? Some people think it's health, some people think it's wealth, some people think it's security, it's family, it's happiness. Whatever it might be for you is the right answer for you, obviously. Because we all have different ways of seeing things and things have different rankings of importance to us. Now, a friend of mine, her number one value was health. And her personality was very much the one that I described, just full of energy, creative, love being around people. And she identified that being in a management role would completely reinforce her personality and give her alignment and enjoy the role. What she didn't think that would happen was that she was approached by a tobacco company to work for them in a management position. Now, the role was everything she wanted it to be. It allowed her to manage people, be around people. It allowed her to be creative, think of new ways of doing things and strategies and methods. And it allowed her to be fully herself. So it completely aligned with who she was as a person. So it brought out most of her characteristics. But where there was that little feeling of not being quite right was that her value, what she valued was health. Now she wasn't a smoker and she just didn't value that she would be working in a company that would promote that. Indirectly, obviously, she'd be in the background, but she didn't feel right about it. So she didn't go ahead with it. So what's important to consider here is, number one, does the role reinforce who you are? And then number two, do your values marry up with that? So you could have a role that brings out the most of you. You know, it's everything you've wanted it to be. But where the fulfillment comes in is, does it give you meaning? Does it align with your values? And that's one to watch. So my invitation to you is to look at two things. Number one, does the role reinforce who you are? Does it bring out more of you? Are you enhanced as a person? Does it promote your growth? Because who you are is being acknowledged in your personality traits and you want to expand that. And if not, then it's definitely not the right fit. But if it is, second part to look at is, do your values meet the role? So are your values being met? And if not, that's when also the disalignment can happen. So I'd love for you to write down below, what position are you in? Does it reinforce who you are? Are your values being met? And the marriage of the values and your personality traits together, that's what creates the harmony. The personality traits, it's all about you. How it reinforces you and progresses you and stimulates your growth in the position and the job. The values is what gives its meaning. That's what creates the fulfillment for you, and the marriage of those two is what creates the dream position. So please write down below what your comments are. Are you in a dream position? Are you in a position where it's not the right fit through personality or through values, or just the wrong choice? So I'd love for you to comment below. I'll come and join the conversation, and I'll see you next week for the next tip.